Very good evening to all. This is a festive season, so wishing happy Dasara. I am Vidyanand Jha and extremely excited to warmly welcome to our all participants and fellow Cyber Gurukul members to yet another insightful and interesting session. Equally honored to introduce reputed cyber immunologist of Cyber Gurukul Cyber Immunity Clinic, Mr. Anil Menon, wherein a known face of Cyber Gurukul, cybersecurity evangelist and CIO of Lolo Group India. Welcome, Anil. Mr. Rohit Rane, industry veteran and head information security at Narayana Energy Technology. Mr. Nihar Pathare, thought leader, vice president, ICT and CISO 63 Moons Technologies. Privileged to have all you on board. Dear CG members, Satish, Srinivas, Sasank, in between, we want your intervention and your thoughts. This session will be moderated by our known face, Harsh Kaur, founding member of Cyber Gurukul. Harsh, now let's take this session to introduce to every members and guest. Welcoming you all. Harsh, over to you.
Thank you so much, Vijaya. First of all, let me just confirm again, the screen is visible and I'm audible as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So first of all, Vijaya, thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. I need to appreciate that Vijaya is the partner in crime here, equally instrumental in every aspect of Cyber Gurukul. So thank you so much, Vijaya. And definitely, since we are talking about Cyber Gurukul, I cannot miss this beautiful opportunity to introduce you. Cyber Gurukul. It's a dream, and we are driven by this passion for cybersecurity. I think a lot of us have this like-mindedness, right? We have that urge for constant learning, and definitely the experience of being knowledge enabler. And having Mr. Nihar, Mr. Rohit, Mr. Anil, I'm sure they're going to prove this today. Cyber Gurukul, it has this vision to bridge the gap between the cybersecurity professionals, business, and community at large. And I know we have this ambitious aim, but together we will be able to do this. We will enable, engage, and empower. Together, we have this mission to be the cybersecurity storytellers and consultants to our stakeholders and community at large. And even with the introductions that we had before, and everyone who has joined us today, I know you all believe in this. And that's the reason. Every time I proudly reiterate, but there's a part of Cyber Gurukul in each one of us. Together, we are Cyber Gurukul. A very good evening, everyone here. And it's a matter of pride and excitement to warmly welcome all the core members of Cyber Gurukul, as well as the extended family. And give a special thanks to Mr. Rohit, Mr. Anil, Mr. Nihar, who have taken out time from their busy schedules to actually leverage their insights and explore cyber immunity together. So thank you so much for joining us. But yes, before we actually come to you, the audience will have to bear me for a few minutes. In fact, let us together, set the context for our esteemed speakers here. Let us set the ball rolling with certain facts and analogy to start. So I came across this, recent survey done by EY in EY Global Information Security Survey 2021, which was conducted across 1,000 plus professionals across the globe and across the different senior level of profiles. And there were certain figures which were alarming, not shocking, certain also shocking. So let's, first understand these before going ahead. This is a figure, which mentions what is the level of confidence of the senior C-level and board members today. Only 9% of these board members, of the ones which were done in the survey have the confidence that they have sufficient protection and mitigation strategies against cyber attacks. A year before, this was 20%. Yes, it's really alarming to see the lack or the reduction in the confidence. But it's not shocking for us. We realize the kind of dramatic explosion we have seen in the cyber threat landscape in the last 1 year. or rather last 2 years. We have seen cyber crimes becoming, something like a full-fledged business to whopping $6 trillion economy, the third largest economy in itself. And last 1.5 year itself has contributed 600% growth, if I have to quote United Nations. And at one end, while we are still grappling with these serious Herculean challenges, no doubt that World Economic Forum considers cybercrime as the biggest human-induced threat at this point. At the other side, of course, we have seen some positives and boon also. Last 1.5 years, the pandemic, the extended pandemic, and I don't know what exactly we are in at this point, but we have definitely seen a true enablement of digitization. Data getting shared, stored, accessed anytime, anywhere, any device. And we also realized that work from home, in fact, we realized a couple of months back, work from home culture is going to outlive the pandemic. In fact, 48% of the business users, according to this survey, even expect additional investments in this new home office technology. So definitely, if you talk about digitization enablement, it's a great story to hear and observe around us. But if I have to talk about securing this digitization, we all realize it's a very story, it's a different story altogether over here. That's the reason why cybersecurity is no more a question. But then what is the question here? It is more of when cybersecurity. And this is something that we will discuss together as audience, as the core members, as well as the speakers here. Vijaya, why don't we have that opinion poll and actually find out what does all of us feel? Is cybersecurity still an afterthought? Let's just wait for the opinion poll and let's hear out your views. Audience, please be ready and share your views.
I hope poll is visible to everyone. Participants, do exercise your.
Okay, we've already started getting answers, so but we'll have to be quick. We'll give another minute. Let's find out. We have very varied thinking. Some of us has observed that with the growing importance of cybersecurity across the different ranks of profile board, definitely cybersecurity team is consulted at early stage. Yet there are people who have felt that cybersecurity is still an afterthought. And we have different views also in terms of, is it declining at this point or is it increasing? I think this is one of the most interesting polls I have seen where we actually have very different answers. Let's wait for another 30 seconds more, Vijaya.
Sure.
I request all of you to please participate in this and share your views over here. What have you observed around you? Is cybersecurity still an afterthought? Okay, we can end the poll since most of us has answered already. In fact, all of the participants.
Yes, so we are ending the poll.
Yes, so we see that there is the highest, category feels that yes, cybersecurity still is an overthought, and the trend is still, increasing over here. Honestly, if I would have voted, or what I had a perception is the second one, that yes, cybersecurity is still an afterthought, but the trend is declining. But now let's get the reality check. Yeah, Vijaya, you were saying something?
So during pandemic, there were panic and we were overdoing for security. But as pandemic is fading, that concern is also declining. So this is my observation.
No, but another observation which we found is at the top level or management level, they are also now understanding the importance and criticality of cyber security, and therefore investment or the support for that will increase. That is what we are feeling.
Very interesting,
different perspective. Yes.
Adding to Abhay, so what happened? The management has started investing also. So we are doing a digital transformation and we are started implementing and we are preparing for next level of doing a hybrid business. But however, So the small piece, the starting stage, because business are already started, but few exception taken in between during this pandemic, but it was not fully taken in the earlier stage. So we need to go in an earlier stage to discuss with the cyber security team, not only cyber security, in all level of security needs to done. So my opinion, so from the starting stage, because management already started investing and started focusing on the business perspective to address the information security and cyber security.
So, Srinivasan, finally, what do you think? It's the first, second, or third option?
So I vote for first actually, because
Okay.
I
So
got
it's not a
complete
second.
support
Okay.
from management, but earlier it was not involved with us discussing this earlier.
Okay, very interesting, observation. I think it's more about what we have experienced. Any other, kind of comments over here? Even I will request the speakers to quickly share what they think, how they have seen around them as an industry or, around themselves. A very quick thought. What do you think, is cybersecurity still an afterthought? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
after
Nihal.
my answer, I had answered that it is declining. The trend is declining. People are getting more aware. I think the question, understanding of the question played a little different in the answers. I think declining the trend, if you have to read correctly, I think it is declining. People are getting more aware. Because of the threat increasing, people are getting aware, and that is the reason they are implementing it at the start of any project.
Okay, Nihal. Thank you for sharing your view.
Just one more viewpoint around that. The other side of it is, and just taking a leaf from what Neha spoke about, because there is so much of things happening around us. Suddenly, everyone is working from home, so much happening. The trends of security has increased also from that point of view. Look at it. People were not at all aware. People suddenly started getting aware. But when you're doing that, also your edge technologies and others have started bringing it onto the user level, right? So the quantum of people who are actually getting aware vis-a-vis the applications and tools and other factors which are coming out, that's a disproportion around that. So it is increasing so far, but sooner or later it start declining, because people, as Nihar rightly said, people are getting aware of it every now and then.
Thank you, Anil, for sharing, what is your, kind of an analysis here. Rohit, would you like to add something before I actually, show you what exactly is happening globally?
Sure. I was about to weigh in. In fact, if you see matured organizations in terms of working remotely when the pandemic hit in, were kind of prepared. And people who are on the journey for maturity in cybersecurity were struggling with those last minute requirements, buying some solutions. But what I see now is that while most of the workforce is back to office, there is a trend in the way that we are going to work ahead. And that's the reason the cybersecurity trend is on a decline primarily. It's because it's not from the attack per se, because that will always be on the increasing trend, but more from the risk management perspective in cybersecurity that we see that dynamics are it's very dynamic and it's changing, and that's the reason why while most of the workforce has now come back to office, maybe a few will still remain on field. But again, the focus is now shifting with respect to getting business back up rather than working remotely, and so that's why even I selected the answer as it's on a declining trend. The business has to have priority over cybersecurity.
Thank you, Rohit. I think that was definitely some takeaways here, but we will come back to you and have a detailed discussion. Let me now, show you what actually this survey, kind of shared with us over here. Let me first stop sharing the poll. I hope the poll has gone now.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let me tell you what exactly has happened in last 1 year. According to the senior InfoSec and CISOs, only 19% of them believed in this year that cybersecurity teams, and they are consulted at the early stages of business initiatives. Last year, this confidence was among 36%. So while we will have our experiences, but as per this survey, which was done with 1,000+ professionals, it is alarming that cybersecurity is still an afterthought, but I was myself also shocked that it is still increasing. I think we had some interesting discussion over here now. It's a much needed discussion also, but we will come back to this question not only to our speakers, but also to our audience, but we'll have to hold it for a few minutes and take up the discussion further now. We'll come back on this question once again. And I would like to hear views that why do you think cybersecurity is an afterthought? I think most of us do agree, but why has it increased? And I think some of our speakers have given some hints, but yeah, we will come back to this. But understanding these statistics over here, I think there would be one thing where each one of us agree, in terms of 100%. Understanding that geography today is history, that the kind of cyber threatscape we are actually struggling with, and that need to monitor, need to protect this, unparalleled growth that we are seeing in the data points. Revisiting your cybersecurity strategy is not enough. This modern era actually demands a whole new dimension to combat cyber. Yes, like already some hints given here and there, we will have to not only upgrade ourselves from cybersecurity to cyber immunity, but yes, together we will actually have to step by step decode the adoption of cyber immunity. And that's the reason we are here today. Now, without further delay, let's break the ice with our esteemed panelists and with the concept of cyber immunity, and with the session step by step, see how it can actually be a blueprint to being a self-aware, adaptive, robust, and powerful cyber defense mechanism. So why don't we start with you, Anil, over here and break the ice with you here? Why don't you introduce yourself and also share your thoughts in terms of cyber immunity?
Thank you, Harsh, and good evening, everyone. Anil Menon from Lulu Group India. I head the IT, and we are, as a group, into retail, malls, real estate, hotels, flight kitchens, logistics, multiple business plans there. Here, from a thought perspective, while I would like to share the personal thoughts which I have around personal views around the cyber security, the concept here of cyber immunity is something which is come up right now in the industry. There's a trend which is happening, but it's a part of cybersecurity. Let's not break it up into two way away polar parts, but it's a journey which we are covering from where we come from cyber security to cyber immunity. So this subject which is there right away here is something someone are practicing as an industry from a retail perspective. We are practicing it, but people may not have tagged it under cyber immunity. Maybe still a cyber security part of it. So that's largely our thoughts. So when we start interacting, we'll try to look at points and tag some behaviors which we as practitioners are working on, which falls under cyber immunity. So that's more like a viewpoint, Harsh.
Interesting, Anil. Thank you firstly for the introduction, and I'm sure we can leverage your experience here. Definitely, whether it is cybersecurity, immunity, this is a journey, couple of bits and pieces we are already practicing. I'm sure today we are going to actually find all these pieces and how we can integrate. Let's at this point, Rohit, your viewpoint. Anil mentioned that cyber immunity can be more part of the cyber security. What is your thought in this? Is it part of it, or do you find some difference between these? Let's take up your view here, and first get you introduced as well.
Thank you so much. This is Rohit Rane. I come with around 60+ years of experience. I currently work as head of information security for Nayara Energy, and we are one of the leading companies in the energy sector. Just as a disclaimer today, the opinion shared are purely personal views and not an official standpoint on behalf of my company. To begin with, on the cyber immunity front, I personally feel that cyber security basically is a risk management approach, where you identify that you analyze your systems, you understand the potential vulnerabilities, you invest and you fix it. Whereas cyber immunity, it's something like Anil very rightly said, is a current trending topic. But in terms of working towards it, it's a long journey. It's a process. It's not something where you have a ready-made vaccination readily available. You take that vaccination and then you are up and running against all the cyber threats. Don't want to go too much into deep dive into this topic, but yes, cyber immunity is something which we build up over a period of time. And we look at eliminating the whole range of cyber threat, not just one cyber threat, which is ransomware or DDoS attacks or per se, but the entire range of cyber attacks. How do we eliminate those inherent? That's what we do.
Interesting. So cybersecurity being more towards the risk management side, fixing and protecting those specific threats, but immunity is more long journey which needs to be built up, and it can actually help in range of cyber threats. So very much interesting, I think, over here, a little different viewpoints. Nihal, let's get to you now. What do you think is cyber immunity and what is not cyber immunity? And I would really love if you can share some analogy also over here.
Okay, so I'm Nihar, working for 63 Moons as a CISO and head IT for the group, and been in this cybersecurity domain right from the early age of novel networking, before Microsoft came into networking. Yeah. So my thought is, if you see, our entire lives are bound with gadgets, devices, and a variety of smart systems. It's hard to imagine the modern economy, for example, without a huge number of computers, office IT networks, industrial machines, and all autonomous control systems. Most intelligent systems today are designed without security being considered a primary goal. The use of our vulnerable software in cyber physical systems, which are multiplying, creates a situation where cyber threats increasingly endanger the safety of humans in the physical world. So my take or understanding is blacklisting isn't cyber immunity. Whitelisting comes close to it. And cyber immunity is different from cybersecurity. It's like it has to be inborn, or it's a natural process of security which comes into your system. So we call this as a cyber immune approach to get out there, and which helps us create IT systems which are inherently secure and safe.
Interesting. I think over here I think I had some discussion with Anil as well in terms of this nature-inspired cyber defense system. Anil, I think you wanted to share it in the start itself, but yeah, you can take it up now.
Yeah, so clearly, everyone is now used to this whole immune booster and what Covishield and Covaxin and whatnot is going on. But if you look at it, it's a natural behavior of our body to actually being new or old biological viruses and other factors, where for centuries the body is taking care of itself by over different mechanisms which are built over a period of time, right? The human bodies are actually exposed to plethora of viruses and bacteria. So due to a well-developed human immune system, they're able to help us through this whole journey, right? And cyber immunity is something which mimics this nature's way of working, right? It's that it comes as something which is very let me put it like this. You have a known kind of viruses, you have an unknown kind of viruses. So immune is more towards the unknown kind of viruses. It's mimicking the body's way of targeting the unknown by having different inputs in his body, and also making sure that the old age understanding of the body to know that if there's a known virus coming, how do you cater to that? So this is a very classic natural behavior of And that's what cybers have taken into consideration, right? So that's something which is engaging for all of us. People are trying to really learn humans behavior, and the same is going with cybers. So that's something, an analogy which I would like to bring in with humans and the cyber.
Very interesting. I think definitely relearning human behavior is how we will be actually have cyber immunity system mimicking the human immune system. And I think you did touch quite a bit on known versus the unknown viruses. So definitely this is also something where we can discuss, how we can actually embrace ourselves to cyber immunity over cyber security. I think these are very, very interesting views. Let's, actually now have a little deep dive and step-by-step decode cyber immunity as well. Definitely, we are having this session on cyber immunity, so it's very important. So, Nihar, let me come back to you first before going to Rohit and understand, from you, why even we are talking about cyber, why has it become so important in times like today? What is your thought about this?
See, I find it is being talked. Yeah, I have a very different anomaly on how important the topic is. Right, the pandemic has made everyone half doctor. Yeah, everyone Googled, everyone researched, and everyone had some nuska for anyone who was a patient. Earlier, the topic between discussions were cricket in this nation. Now it became an medical advisor. And I feel we will reach that when people talk about cybersecurity in such forums as a natural in family forums or everything. That did you happen to know? So these are some indicators which are social indicators. You understand where the level of focus is of the en masse that is there in the country. So cybersecurity, we are now getting people getting hacked, their Paytm getting hacked, the bank account getting hacked, the enterprises, once you had social engineering attacks that we also faced in the early phases of our, we thought that we have to be called immune when most types of our cyber attacks directed at us pro ineffective and cannot impact the key functions. That's what we call that we are immune. We have layered approach. First is your first level of security, then you have a second, then each of them have a different role to play. One is for the known and other one is the unknown. So I feel the cyber immunity will ensure, once we have this, to ensure reliable and predictable operations of our information systems, minimizing the risk, as Rohit said, of cyber incidents and related accidents. So the cyber immunity implies that the risk of the entire classes of cyber attacks will be eliminated. I do not know at what level, but they no longer be a very powerful and effective. And our core functions continue to work without getting a disruptive or a zero-day attack, like a ransomware attack, which stops all our functions. So immunity is there as a basic level, which does not hamper. These attacks are going to continue, and systems will keep on building on it, but immunity will waive off your 80% of your headache, which is currently happening today.
Very interesting. I think you also mentioned about the layered approach, Nihar, for known and unknown threats. So I think maybe definitely when we talk about immunity, we will also talk more about what is the actual natural immunity and the innate immunity and the acquired immunity that we need to get. But I think the most important point that you raised is that with cyber immunity, our systems will become more reliable, predictable, and let's realize, just like our human body, which is so much more self-aware, so much more adaptive, that is what is exactly required even in terms of the cyber world, because that is how we will become more immune to the cyber attacks. I think it's definitely important to, even for the cyber criminals, make the cost of attack bigger than the cost of damage they can create. And I think, Nihar, you very much kind of put few points around here. And I loved, each one of us becoming that half doctor concept. Thank you, Nihar. That's very interesting. Rohit, how would you take this up? And, when we're talking about cyber immunity, I think we have started discussing, but this is still a buzzword. Do you see, some challenges in the adoption of, cyber immunity over here?
Thanks, Ash. So just few points which I'd like to touch upon and maybe repeat what Anil and Nehar had said. The analogy of the human immune system. Anil mentioned about knowing about the knowns and unknown, or learning about the knowns and unknown. Niyar mentioned about the immunity primarily is to address and eliminate such risk which comes from the known or for unknown, right? In that scenario, it's a beautiful analogy to look at. And if you look at the challenges in this is, how well do we know our current posture when we compare it with cyber immune or cyber immunity in that case? Are we aware, first of all, who we are, what we do? Now, if I have to translate that into a cyber language, then I would say that, are we aware what happens on each and every device, each and every person, what activity is doing, the networks, the activities on the business application system? Are we aware what happens all the time, which probably I can call it as a normal behavior? Are we aware about that entire normal behavior for us to be in a position to to tag everything other than this normal behavior as an abnormal behavior or an anomaly, what we call it, and have a protection or eliminate those anomalies and protect ourselves? So primarily, if you look at the cyber immune system, that's what we want to do. We want to whitelist it. That's another point which Nihar very rightly mentioned. So we want to know what is that whitelist that we are maintaining at our end, and the blacklist ones, we want it to be automatically addressed. If I again go back to what Anil brought in the analogy of human system, we have the pathogens. Our body gets to know that, okay, these are harmful pathogens, the viruses, bacteria. So what happens? Our immune system kicks in. What it does, it automatically detects such things which is harmful to the body, and eliminates them and prevents you from that kind of effect. If we compare it with this similarly with us cyber immune system, we want that inherently we build up that system which automatically learns the behavior of an enterprise in terms of knowing what is happening on each devices, what is happening in the network, or what is happening in the applications, keeping a track of it, and anything other than that is something which is a threat. So when we go by this approach and this understanding of immunology, there is a possibility of having a lot of noise created, because may not be all that is unknown is a threat to you. So I see that that's a biggest challenge in devising a cyber immune system towards safeguarding ourselves against cyber threats. That's one of the primary things. And let's not forget that as defenders, while we are looking at adopting latest technologies and having developing such immunity, at the same time, the adversaries are also equipping themselves to come up with such systems where, just like an HIV virus, what it does, it impacts it attacks your immune system, and it brings down your immune system. The moment your immune system is down, you are prone to all sorts of attacks in the environment. Similarly, in cyber security, I see that even though we are talking about this trend of cyber immunity and building up those systems for cyber immunity, how are we going to prevent these systems from such kind of attacks, where the attacker is no more looking to circumvent it? It is looking to directly first attack this immune system, bring it down, and then it's the traditional walkover for him in terms of attacking systems with the plethora of evasive techniques that he has to take care of the other traditional layered approaches. So I feel these are the modern day challenges when we look at cyber immunity or cyber immunity systems trying to build up for our enterprise.
Definitely, Rohit, prevention definitely is better than cure. But of course, actually putting it in action is a different story altogether. So we'll definitely discuss that in detail. But I think you did, brought a very important question of how well Do we know the cyber risk posture across the devices, the users, applications, etc.? And of course, the first step anywhere would be more on the basic hygiene, the visibility, the awareness. And I think you really summed up the discussion you were doing, Anil and Nihar was doing. You almost did my job of moderation itself here. But yeah, I think very important point that we can definitely learn, mimicking the human immune system in terms of autonomous detection that you mentioned. You also mentioned quite a bit on self learning. I think that was something very interesting, and the kind of a inherent kind of and when I say inherent, again I come back to the question that we were discussing before. Nihar, I think in between did mention in a way about security by design or inherent, I would say over here, security in the systems. And that again brings us to, the kind of trend that we were observing. Cyber security is still an afterthought and it is increasing. Before we actually go to the next discussion on, actually kind of combating against this disease and actually hear out the thoughts how to put cyber immunity into action, I'll open up to the audience and to the core members. What is your analysis? I think some of us, like Anil, definitely brought some points of why it is still increasing. He could get there. But why do you think, I would take few more views here, that why cybersecurity as an overthought is a trend which has still increased in last 1 year? Let's hear out thoughts over here. Again, you can have repeat also.
Yes, Satish here. Okay. See, now this discussion is very interesting. But one thing which I normally feel is that I think many times because of the threat of security, see, like security is like a black box. People are not aware of, and then they create a threat within the people that ऐसा नहीं करेंगे तो ये होगा, वैसा नहीं करेंगे तो वो होगा, data चला जाएगा, this will happen, that will happen. Okay. First thing is making awareness. That awareness to people, saying that how to utilize the existing security tools available in your system. Okay. Second part I feel is integration of existing tool. Okay. So many times it happens that we keep on putting, I think I always keep saying that I think because of this current threat, we are going into Z+ security of our laptops, desktops. Okay. I think we need to come out of it. Do we really need that level of security in our system? Is it domain specific? So all these things. So when we talk about immunity, so the thing is, if you recollect, I think again we are discussing about the corona. Okay. So interesting part is when we are given the vaccination, some of the people were given sodium water. They felt better. Okay. So the reason is we need to find out which tool is applicable where and in which environment. What is the kind of control we need to put on each role rather than putting up the security or maybe control across, okay, which will in fact help us to bring better immunity. Okay, otherwise what happens normally is, yaar, ye security wale ne gadbad kar diya hai, my machine has gone slowed down and lots of issues are coming up, my website is not getting access. So all these complaints will come into pictures suddenly. Okay, so I think that is what I feel is, I think immunity is very important, but the thing is we need to look at the roles and responsibilities. Based on that, you need to configure or profile your tools which will help to improve the performance. End of the day, when we are doing this activity, we have to keep in mind that our objective is that the productivity should not impact the in the organization.
Okay, very well taken. I think a very interesting and a different opinion, but equally important, kind of putting on user productivity versus security, or is it together? We'll definitely talk a little more on this, Satish, absorption of cybersecurity. But I'd also like to hear more views that, why do you think this trend has increased in 1 year? We got one very interesting and a different opinion here. Let's hear out more as well. That's how we can together debate as well, and come up to a mid path. Yes, sir. Let's take a few more views before going back to the panelists.
Harsh, Shashank here. So,
yes.
I mean, I've been listening. I mean, a lot of talks about immunity, and I don't want to go into that domain. But yes, from the cybersecurity being an afterthought, that which really Sunesh said is declining. I think because we are becoming more cyber aware, more risk aware, as Rohit was also saying that it's a risk-based thing. And the only problem was being an afterthought was because business used to treat technology as its strategic piece, and technology you should then consider security as a measure to be taken rather than security being a part of the business opportunity straight away. So this is changing because the business teams are now realizing that if they have to have B2B or B2C integration with, say, any third-party APIs or anything, they need to check the security parameters upfront before they allow this kind of business deal happening. So even that should be the approach. I mean, that should be the say at the security from the top, as we say, so that the business teams themselves understand that it is a cybersecurity risk, which is as an enabler rather than being an afterthought and being being looked at after systems have moved into production and then we are breaking our head. So I mean, that is my view. I mean, a lot of talk about immunity, so I don't want to go there. So you can continue, I guess.
Great, Shashank. Business, definitely we can discuss with our panelists later. How can we actually make them more risk aware, because of which cybersecurity has been an overthought vis-a-vis across the parameters also. Thank you, Shashank. Any other viewpoint before we go ahead? I don't mind if you put on the chat box also. Okay, anyways, in that case, let us continue with our panelists now, and let me now come back to Nihar over here. Nihar, we before and now as well heard few, kind of opinions on cyber security being an afterthought. And few minutes back, you were talking about security by design. Now, how do you exactly think, and if it's possible to give some example, how do we transform from the cyber security being an afterthought? You can add on few more points if you feel, which are the reasons behind this trend happening, and we get to that, step by step, of course, but reach the stage of security by design. Let's hear you.
So we look at it as looking at it from 2 points of view. One is your infrastructure that protects your company, and what are the products that you use and what is the architecture that you design. And second, as we are a software development company, what goes into our software? Yeah, because most software components cannot be trusted in terms of information security, because it's written by developers with questionable quality. We have some have focus, some do not. And also it's borrowed from public sources like GitHub. For them, all that matters is that their components will fulfill the function when they're developing a software. Yeah, a system created in accordance with the cyber immunity principles has to be provided. For that, what we do is we tell the developers that they have to consider which parameters must have guaranteed protection on the component that they are developing, and under what conditions and under what provisos will the system be used. Unless they have this understanding of where it and how, you cannot develop so this is where you inherit security in the product that you design and then flow it out into the market. And for the infrastructure part, as I said earlier, the first line of defense includes a firewall, antivirus, IDS, access control. Then you have the second line of defense, which is the anti-APT, anti-malware, zero-day attacks. And then you have the third line of defense, which is very specific, adaptive, and evolving like acquired immunity. This includes analyzing the threat, attack, anomaly. And for that, we have now started using AI-based softwares, which actually study the behavior of a user or the network. And then it sees it's easier for it after a few months of study. It gathers that ML and then says that this user is behaving abnormal, or the network that he is on, this packets were never sent by him. So that is where you block, because it takes around 60 minutes for you to detect a threat and then stop a threat for a human mind. But this does not work out in the real life situation, because if you have a ransomware attack, if it's not isolated, it will start growing on your entire network. So you need to have automated processes which put a block on any anomaly which is behavior based. No more are the days where we can see, okay, this is happening. We see on a knock screen and say there is something happening. The human way of attacking a problem is a very, very slow. You have to have speed, which actually is faster than what your ransomware attacks or zero-day attacks will split into your network.
Interesting, Nihar. Of course, like you mentioned about, exactly when is it that security needs to be inherited, and I think it's very true when you talk about the development team and the kind of questionable quality there. And I think it was very interesting to hear the line of architecture. How can we start off? So of course, while cyber immunity will be a goal now, rethinking cybersecurity strategy is not sufficient. But first, the innate immunity will of course be acquired with the first and second line of defense through the basic hygiene, the basic technologies and the processes. And to have this acquired immunity as a third line of defense, which is equally important. I think you gave a very good example of how AI, ML, these kind of technologies can not only kind of make security more intelligent, but it can also help with this behavior based threat detection and containment kind of processes and technology. So very interesting, Nihar. Let's get to Rohit at this point and here, what do you think? Let me put it a little differently and in a more difficult way. What do you think? How can we actually achieve this blueprint of being a self-aware, adaptive, kind of cyber defense mechanism? So how do you take this up, Rohit?
Right. So I feel, in my opinion, there are two ways to look at it. One is purely by the behavior, right? I mentioned about knowing what happens on our devices, what happens in our network, what happens in our application. That is equally important. At the same time, security by design is also equally important. So I come from an energy sector, and if I take that as an example, just to little bit add more on security by design, we have on the manufacturing side of energy sector, you find a lot of IoT uses in the plant sites, right? And now we talked about all our first line of defense, second line of defense. How do we build up immunity in such devices? Now that becomes a primary question if you look at policy environment. So that is where I feel that the security by design. I've seen a couple of OEMs working towards this. They have adopted the Industry 4.0 model, and they're looking at building and they're looking at a microstructure where by design, in hardware itself, in the machine code itself, the security is built in, right? And then we'll have a firmware sitting on top of it, which communicates with this machine code and translates this that inherently this is my this is the area that I know. That's how it's getting translated. When we look at it, in the industrial side, when we have machine code talking to source code, and when that relation is fixed, that behavioral is fixed, then inherently we are looking at things differently, because anything that goes outside this connection, then it primarily becomes a risk for you. So that's where we say that security by design towards immunity is very much important. You also mentioned one aspect, Harsh, about the cost of attack should be much more than the cost of design and the cost of maintaining the design as well. I believe security by design in this term help us over there. At the same time, once we start using this, we will also have to build up our hygiene factors, which you very rightly mentioned. We will also have to build up those layers. We talked about first line of defense, second line of defense. Shashank and Satish also talked about building that convergence from other security tools, trying to make sense out of it. These are all used to build up that immunity. And when we look at AI and ML based tools, which are in a way a self-learning tool, what it primarily does is it uses all various algorithms to try and keep track of all the no's. And anything outside that is where there is an alert, and where we talk about analyzing those alerts and making note of that, addressing that, containing that, responding to it, is where it all comes in, right? So I'm just trying to connect the dots here in terms of security by design and security through this layered approach, and bringing in that behavioral aspect as well. So these are two very important aspects when we look at security at Immunity. And again, it's again something there is no fixed answer. You need to look at what kind of an organization you are, what are the various devices, applications that you are using, and then accordingly fix on the approach and how do you approach it.
Very much very, very interesting and comprehensive as well. And like you rightly said, there is no fixed answer, and that's the reason we have to be, I guess, adaptive. And you brought quite a bit of points and also summarized my points this time. I really feel privileged to it. Thank you so much. Of course, you mentioned also covering
You
what
gave me a
Nihar-
tough one. Thank you so much.
and you really kind of fared very well, 100 on 100, Rohit. So I think very interesting. You mentioned on the detection, analyze, response kind of a cycle. To build up the immunity, you actually mentioned, kind of not only stitched immunity and the other aspects, the other components. You also mentioned where we can actually start, building up that immunity with that example of, machine and source code. When they marry, that type itself, security as a child should come up. So that's very interesting. You mentioned about IoT security and the Industry 4 models, and it's good that some of the OEMs are already, fully have the vision to kind of stitch and provide certain, kind of insights here. And you did mention about the cost of attack higher than cost of damage. Very true. So, you helped us how to start. Anil, why don't we take up you and can you help us with some kind of, these cornerstones? What all should we look at? We already have the architecture in terms of the first, second, third line of defense. But, if you have to simplify it, although we should not go tick mark wise, but then it does matter, what are those areas where we can think about boosting immunity at this point with the kind of scenario we are in. So here comes another difficult one.
No, Harsh, thanks. And as I'll pick up leads from Nihar and Rohit, they mentioned all the possible cons for sure. So what actually receive, or when you go for a pandemic or a COVID or something of that sort, what have they taught you? They taught you wash your hands, have sanitizers, be hygiene. So you start with pure sanitary organization, right? Second, this is with it goes the disease. What also will come up. So this is the starting point. Second, as I said, security time. But have you assisted yourself? Am I audible? Am I visible?
Actually, Anil, you need to drop your video. I think the bandwidth is a little less. Only
Yeah,
audio
you can
will be
drop the
fine.
video and answer.
Yes.
Right.
Am I audible now? I'm audible now. Not
Yeah, better.
It's better. But your voice is still breaking a lot. Maybe we'll just
Can you
wait.
give me a second?
Yeah, please. No worries. And after Anil actually shares his experience and what are the cornerstones, I would also request for maybe some questions or maybe any form of interactions, your experiences that I would be opening up to the audience. So after this audience, I would request you to come up with your questions. You can also put it in the chat box if you want. If you want to share your experiences, your viewpoints, we are open to that as well. Post hearing out Anil. So let's just give him in a minute.
I'm audible now?
Yeah, now it's very much better. Yes.
Okay. Sorry. So I was saying one is hygiene from an cyber hygiene perspective, and second is the good practices. The third one, security by design, is must needed. That's that's a no-go for that. If it's not in place. One of the other things which I think we should be looking at is the legacy systems. As Rohit touched upon the industry 4.0, you see a lot of IoTs and hardware talking to hardware and all of that has come up, right? You need to see how much of your legacy systems are ready for this. So that's something which you have to cross-check. It's more of a review and governance around this hardware and software is what it will be your key attributes to take a journey onto cyber immunity. And not last but the least, you need to have an AI ML running on all top of this with proper inputs and industry best practices. You need to have collaboration with security organizations to make sure that this engine of yours is fed with right information at the right time to make sure that your unforeseen and unknown and all of that can be taken care of. Nihar rightly touched upon one of the practices is how do you find the anomaly in your behaviors, right? So each user, each network is monitored by this AI ML tools. Largely ML is what is used and AI runs on this ML algorithms is what goes around. So all this you have to put it, you have to stitch this. This forms your cornerstones to put all your aspects which is going to come up. See, from a retail industry, if I talk to you, this pandemic has brought in a lot of digitalizations, right? But 90%, if I have to just number it out, are not security by design. Sure, people are now going in and trying to figure out how is this product enabling us. I'll give you a classic example here. You all have been taking deliveries from X number of restaurants and S number of groceries, right? They have enabled digital, but are they complementing your legacy systems? Are they having enough of security around it? Is something which now people are now started talking about it, looking into it, and trying to stitch that together. And how did that come in? Following the best practices, your AI ML throwing out that alert mechanisms, right? And making sure your legacy systems are updated to the newer versions, updates, patches, all of that put together. Because if you look at it, the industry had brought in softwares and others long back, which has an age of 30 years, 40 years, right? And you don't have the newer versions updated on that because it was never needed. So things like that comes around in governances and things like, so that's more like a cornerstone for us, what I say, to start with. This will evolve for sure as the industry progresses.
Very interesting. Anil, I think we definitely got those corner points or cornerstones to start off the journey for cyber immunity. Very important, of course, again, and we talk about the basic cyber hygiene, which will always be the first step. And it's very important, to actually see the readiness of our legacy systems, which Anil, quite a bit explained us in details of their readiness towards actually adopting security by design. So of course, there's a lot of work in this area. You also mentioned again, reiterating the point of Nihar and the, in terms of the role of AI ML and especially, overall how we need to have this continuous, kind of a risk-based adaptive kind of a security assessment. So of course, that is something which we need to do continuously as our cornerstone. So I think very interesting. And I liked the way you start, with again, this analogy with the COVID and, those basic precautions, wash your hands, use a sanitizer and, use the mask. I think that is definitely the approach to simplify, this journey towards not only cybersecurity, but actually acquiring that, acquiring additional immunity to become cyber immune. Well, this journey is a long one, but yes, we will keep on discussing and I'm sure step by step reaching and helping each other. Before we actually sum up, would like to have any questions and also any observation viewpoints over here. So Vijay, can you check if there are any questions which are coming in chat box? Let's wait.
Sure,
I'll be happy if a panelist could answer.
For participants, you can raise your questions, doubt, and put it your thought. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you have any, yeah, please.
Can you hear me? This is Karthi Rao. Actually, I am from a building automation system background. So when it comes to this afterthought, the afterthought is always declining because when it comes to the old products that are already in the market. So people are not ready to invest on that because their cost involved to the customer as well as the business to make it cyber immune or cyber secured is more costly than getting a new product. So people are trying to go for a new thing instead of putting an cyber security for the existing one. This thought I just want to bring it over. And one more point I would like to bring it over here is, so you people are talking about immune system. Depends upon the system that we have. For example, people use software, so people like us go with the hardware software, and maybe Anil and Rohit were talking about the legacy systems. Our legacy systems are not even capable of adapting those new cyber security or cyber immune changes. So in this situation, what would be the better idea that can be provided for people like us?
Karthik, you want me to answer that? I can do that. Very classic. Move on. Please move on from the legacy systems. Do not look, because your cost of investment is, because you are calling it legacy. So your cost of investment is already moved out from there, right? Now try to invest in something which is future ready. You're trying to do too many things. That's why I said you do a governance, you go back and see what is the risk you're carrying by taking legacy systems, right? You always need to vet it out very soon, right? And I would give a clear answer. Please move out from the legacy system in a phased manner so that your future is secured and you are not under an attack where you have to pay crores and crores of rupees, which is 1x or no, so I say 100x of what you're going to spend now. So let's be penny wise and not even pound foolish also. So let's be around there, and I say move on.
Yeah, thanks, Anil.
Thank you, Karthik, for asking the question and also sharing your viewpoint.
Interesting. I'll Harsh just like to add one point for Karthi. What Anil said is perfectly right. I am just saying in context to the industrial control systems, right? Such control systems are usually visualized, planned, strategized, and looked at minimum 30 years kind of an investment, where actually fixed up a system which upon a period of time turns into a legacy, right? Because you don't intend to, you won't be able to make such a big capital investment again into setting up a new plant. In such scenarios is where I would recommend that security by behavior comes in. You have a lot of tools which actually helps you to understand the behavior of such industrial control systems, or OT environment, what we call it. And at the same time, look at the layered security approach where to build them. Because previously we talked about having an air gap and all. Now we are in the era of convergence between IT and OT, and pretty soon I see that we probably might even not talk about IT and OT separately. You know, that's where the world is moving. That's where things are occurring, and it requires. Anil very rightly said that over a period of time, once you are reaching that age limit, you need to replace them. And when you replace them, you look at products where you get this option of security by design, where you make attacker's life difficult. And if he wants to have any attack on critical systems like this, he needs to go right up to the OEM's workshop and attack the developers first and get access to those machine codes and source codes, and then try and build them. I feel if I try to give it an industrial control systems purview, this is what Karthi, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely, Rohit, because as you said, as I mentioned, right, it's legacy. Legacy in the sense we are already 40 years old controls. It's very difficult to replace them, or it is very difficult to convince the customer as well to get it replaced. If you are saying to replace them because of a security reason, and the question will be turning back, actually going to the pavilion. Oh, then what might have happened so far? What happened to our customers so far? So these questions will rise to the customers, and that will create a panic to them. So we have to be in a face-by-face manner. As you said, if it is expiring by aging, then we will go with a new secured product so that it can be replaced in a proper way.
I
Maybe
have
we'll try to, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, Karthik, I have a small point to make here. Prior to working with 63 Moons for the last 13 years, I worked with Bosch for almost a decade. And Bosch Security Systems was an area where we used to invest time. So I know closely to how the building automation system works and how the process works on the security or the access control. That's correct, right? This is what you're talking about.
Yeah, so we are into HVAC systems actually.
Okay. So I have a different point of view from the entire panel. I said if they are very old systems, they will not get hacked because the technology doesn't exist anymore for anyone to access the systems. Yeah, if you get into, they might not have been networked. Yeah,
No.
they would be still using Cat5 cables or your serial cables to get connected. Is it the story, or these are fairly new?
No, so yes.
We have combination of, as you said, we still able to connect with the serial cables, and we are slowly moving to a LAN-based or WAN-based network controls nowadays.
Yeah.
So I am just worried about the older one and the legacy ones. Still, they are in the network, and we used to have a bridge to get data. So
Right,
that bridge
right.
should not be the bridge for the hackers to get the data.
I would say the risk is less. I would not say that the risk is there unless someone does a pinpoint attack and wants to really bring you down, but no one has so much time and effort to bring a very legacy system down unless it's you have installed it at a very critical area, which I don't think would be happening there.
Maybe what I'm trying to say is a different thing. Actually, my system should not become a bridge for the data that the customer is using actually. For example, say my system is in a bank, and my system should not become a bridge for the bank data.
You have answered your question. If it's a bank, then they need to increase the security level. And
Yeah, of course. I'm just trying to
Yes.
put some
But,
security breaches.
But even if it is plant and all companies have not only one vendor like Siemens, Bosch, or there are many vendors, but the challenge comes when you try to integrate that IoT data where the sensors, PLCs, SCADAs are different, and at that time you realize there is a gap between IT and OT, and security becomes a challenge. And that's when I also realized almost 4-5 years back that all OEM vendors OS needs to be upgraded to latest patch level, and that's where it takes a lot of time. And you don't know, machines are 15-20 years old. New machines you don't bother, but the old machines you have to be very careful getting into any OT network also. And right security alerts, tools, and everything needs to be in place. That is definitely, but it is a continuous journey. It cannot be said to we will ensure that everything will be okay in OT side and it will not impact. And that I realized twice, some incidents, small incidents also, and it is a huge risk. If one day plant is off because of this, then you're gone actually. So the awareness in the plant level, operator level, supervisor, management level, and the investment in OT security, that has that knowledge level is increased. They are asking that ensure that all the levels are control, monitoring is in place. So I am seeing these changes which is happening right now.
Sorry, please.
Of conversation which we just had, if this was done at the board meeting, the board would have told you to change the legacy system by now. In terms of business going down by one day, instead of showing it as a security problem, a security risk, we should show the business risk. If you show the business,
so that is how I also went about showing them that if my per day production is down, it's 150 crore loss of product.
So it's more of a board meeting thing, which I think we should work on.
Like a participation in the board meeting, that I can say, because nobody is pinpoint that, so that it would have come to the picture actually.
Yeah.
True.
Maybe thanks everyone, because this is a right discussion. I believe we have got a lot of information and insights from you all.
Karthi, that is not from your side. It's everywhere, but nobody discussed actually in the point. So, as Nihar mentioned, so everybody focus on the digital perspective. Sorry, everybody is thinking about the digital perspective. Now, not touch the traditional one.
I think these are very long discussions, and it was really interesting to actually discuss a real life scenario. But then we also have just 5 minutes left out. So at this point, trust me, I did not want to, kind of interfere with this very interesting discussion. And I would also thank Karthi and Abhay over here. And I think we all really got involved. But in interest of time, we can take up questions. You can share us one-to-one later or through a mail. At this point, I think it's time to actually sum up. So Nihar, Rohit, and Anil, I would now, request you one by one to, just give us this, last 1 minute, kind of a takeaway that you would like to give and take both.
Sure.
Nihar, let's start at this point with you. Yeah.
So I would like to say it's all about an ecosystem. A healthy cyber ecosystem operates via layered defenses and countermeasures that work in tandem. Most like our antibodies responding to a virus in our body. This ecosystem works with the body, that's our corporate network, covering all vital functions like the whole enterprise. It learns, adapts, and remembers, identifies and monitors threats, analyzes and remediate, also watch and prevent, and responds quickly. That is your intervention. So key points is hygiene, visibility, threat detection, prediction, and also a small point as have a trusted security partner with you, because that's not always your core job. You should also let the focus on security also have a partner which has a core focus on this area. That's my 2 cents.
I think summed up very well. 4 points: hygiene, visibility. You can say more on the detection and response, and as well as trusted security partner, and of course, talking about this integrated ecosystem with the layered security defense. Thank you so much. Let's now go up to Rohit and also take the final takeaways from him.
I think Nihar covered it quite well. In fact, covered all the points. Just from my additional points perspective is what I will share is while cyber hygiene and right up to the end point of Nihar that we started. One important aspect is knowing yourself. That is a very critical important. And the other aspect is, if I look at from an industry perspective, choosing the right strategy to safeguard yourself and to create that immune system plays a very important role. So having clarity on this is I feel is the key or success criteria here in all the approaches which so he has summed it up very well. I just wanted to bring in this additional aspect and a few points which Abhay also said were quite useful, as well as Karthi. I would just like to thank them as well. Thank you.
Definitely the first step, self-assessment and awareness of the cyber risk posture. And I think you also covered quite well on the right strategy, adaptive strategy. Let's also hear out Anil before we actually sum up.
And thanks, Raj. I think Nihar and Rohit has put on all the points. Just one point to add that is mentioned, said by everyone, do have your governance in place. Do not lose this around what you're doing. Strategy should be aligned with the whole of security. Right? So have this alliance. Strategy and governance hand in hand to make sure that all what Nihar and Rohit have mentioned rightly and big key points to be noted can be achieved for sure.
Perfect, Anil. And what I'll also do, Abhay, thank you for the question, but now we'll have to take this one-to-one after the session. Please don't mind that. And before we actually, close, any of the Cyber Gurukul members would like to add on? I think very interesting discussion. I could take a lot of key takeaways, but let's also quickly hear out from the members before we close.
I'll take that one. Okay. So lots of insights. Rohit has covered everything on that part. Actually, because I know very well Rohit will touch upon that security by design. So I was thought of asking the question on that part. Actually, he has given covered everything, and here and Anil also given the insight on the cyber hygiene related. How as a cyber security doctor, I can say, so we need to educate them what is the immune system and the immune condition of the organization. So we could so adding to that, we could educate the people on the changes happening in the infrastructure as well as the organization, right? And target the sensitive and critical resources and make them understand what they are, because we are talking about the AI and ML and innovations and digital transformation. We need to target whoever actually on the critical resource who handling the information. So we need to educate and
Srinivasan, you have got mute in the end now.
Is it fine?
Yeah, now it's
Yep, yep. So we need to, so that's what we need to target the critical resources. We make them understand. That is what we are doing it. My colleague Vikas also part of the session. So he aware of all activities which we are doing as a part of the. So adding that, so one of my, I'll give you one incident which happened recently. One of my colleague, one of my friend who is working in a different organization, he started doing a phishing simulation. So he has, what happened, he has overdo the phishing simulations, but we have not educated them and what level of the security awareness we are doing it. But actual phishing was attacked in the end user and it got triggered with that network. So we need to focus on each and every activity which we are performing, and whatever surprise check which we are doing it awareness perspective, we need to make them aware this is what happening. So all technologies we can as that is what our roles and responsibility in the organization. So end of the day, we need to make them aware this is what happening, make sure it will be adhere and the procedures and policies will be followed in the ground. So thanks everyone, it's good insight, and I will take it in my organization personally, and others please take that recommendation and insight and implement in your organization. Thanks Rohit, Nihar and Anil behalf of Cyber.
Thank you so much, Srinivasan. In fact, I think the point of assessment definitely helps in the reduction of overdue also, which Satish had mentioned before. Now, in interest of time, we will have to, kind of sum it up and close, but we will come every month with such interesting sessions. And today we actually covered more deep dive into the what of cyber immunity with our, esteemed veterans over here, Mr. Anil, Mr. Nihar, and Mr. Rohit. Thank you so much again for those wonderful insights. And definitely, joining every month like this, we will also step by step do more on how of cyber immunity. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll get back again after a month. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
with
so
this,
much.
we are closing this session.
Thank you all. Thank you, Cyber Group.
Thank you, everyone.